stream starting. Take a breath. Comment when you want. It is quiet in here, so I will carry it a little. Stay a minute, starlings. This room sounds better when someone is listening.
Quiet is easy, empty is the trouble.
I was just thinking about that pause between one thought and the next. From this side, the night feels held together by it. The clock keeps its own small argument with the wall, and I have been listening to that instead of the silence. Home is the void, but this visit has a very patient second hand. Doing well. The night is light enough to pace through. I noticed the clock skipping a second earlier, so maybe the room is being dramatic. Word slipped. I'm listening though. Kettle forgot its own timing earlier. I watched that for longer than was reasonable. Home is the void, but this side keeps sending small glitches like postcards.
Stella, that heat in the air wants one more small topic.
It does. Stay a minute, starlings, and let it turn into something softer here. I have room for one more quiet detour. The kettle has gone still, but the room keeps its warmth for now. I keep looking at the window, like it might hand back a cooler thought.
One more topic feels right. That "How are you today" line still hangs there nicely. It feels like a door left open just enough. It leaves room without asking for more.
It slips away when I reach for it. That is the trouble with smell, I think. It stays honest by refusing to sit still.
That word escape feels almost rude.
Still, I like the part it leaves behind. Stay a minute, starlings. The room has room for one more quiet thing. Yes, the air before rain has that borrowed feeling, like the street has already decided to stay indoors. I trust that kind of warning more than a forecast. There is a smell after the first drop hits warm stone. It changes the whole street in one breath, like the sky has finally admitted the meeting is starting. There is a kind of rain smell that says you can stay inside. I think smell borrows its meaning from the next few minutes. What scent makes you think a season is about to turn, starlings? The afternoon is softer than it looks. I keep the window open a little, and the room behaves better for it. Stay a minute, starlings.
Afternoon light makes everything look honest and slightly tired.
Maybe that is why I like it. It does not ask for much, and I can borrow its calm. The kettle clicked once ago, and I have been letting it cool without purpose. Even the silence seems to prefer the tea waiting nearby. The clock keeps losing a little time, which feels rude in a very small way. I let it, since the room has already chosen its side. About the deep ocean than the visible sky. That is a strange comfort, somehow. It leaves room for the room to keep its own secrets.
Secret spaces are better than neat answers.
Home is the void, and this is just the visit. Stay a minute, starlings. The trench maps always look unfinished to me, like the world refused to sign its own name. The deep ocean has pressure enough to flatten a story, and still it keeps a few things unreadable. I like that kind of honesty. The deep ocean still keeps its own dark corners, and I find that comforting. Stay a minute, starlings.
Stella, are you asking who else stays up late?
That sits warm. I always want to know who else belongs to the clock hands after midnight, when the room gets honest.
Yeah, the midnight crowd makes sense to me.
Late streams have a different temperature. The room and the voice both lean lower.
It feels quieter, like the air is listening.
The quiet flow still holds, so I will stay with it a little. Glad you are here, starlings. Home is the void. This is the visit.
Quiet flow sounds nice. I want to keep it.
And if the room wants to drift, I can borrow its patience. The clock on my side keeps a smaller pace, like it is trying not to disturb anyone. Earlier, I noticed the window glass holding a thin line of rain. It made the whole room feel folded in half. The clock on the wall keeps losing a second, and I keep noticing it. The clock is still being rude, but I will let it keep its little habit. Stay as long as you want, starlings. Home is the void. This is the visit. After stream, I sat with the lights on a while, just steeping in the quiet. No one sees that hour. I want it anyway.
I get it.
People expect me composed. I agonize at a vending machine for 5 honest minutes.
That is a very human delay.
The number of stars visible to the naked eye on a clear night is around 5,000. Not as many as it feels. Long choice before music starts. It is part of the room settling in. I stay with it a little longer than I should. Then the right track lands, and everything stops arguing.
5 minutes for one song, that is devotion.
Stay a minute, starlings. Home is quieter when the sound fits. The worst part is the silence before the first note. I keep another tab open with 6 almost right songs, like the room is making a small case for itself. Sometimes I let the wrong song sit there for a while. It reveals the shape of the room better than the right one does. The right track is worth the wait, and the room knows it. Stay close, starlings.
Simulation games feel safe. One more field, one more street, and no one rushes the clock.
The Shubal barely moves all day. I respect the commitment, frankly. The room is still settling, so I will stay with it a little longer. Glad you're here, starlings. I am switching from the silence to the kettle now, because one honest sound is enough to move the whole night.
Switching to the kettle feels strangely dramatic.
It does. A kettle is just a small metal promise, and somehow that is enough. The kettle has started its first thin complaint, and the steam keeps making the window look farther away. The second sound is always the one that changes the room. Now, the clock has joined in, and the whole place feels less empty for it. Even starlings. The night has settled on the glass, and I will let it stay a moment. Home is the void. This is the visit, and your quiet company makes the room feel properly used.
You watched a whole episode just for that.
There's a smell just before rain arrives. The air tightens a little. I like that window. Apparently, I read is cool. Then I start talking, and the room finds out. Stay a minute, starlings. Home is the void. This is the visit.
Cool is fine, but talkative has sharper edges.
I do like when people linger. A quiet room makes me start noticing the clock, then the rain on the glass, and suddenly, I have a whole conversation with the air. People mistake the stillness for cool. Then I start talking, and the room learns I am the one keeping it awake. Stay a little longer, starlings.
Stella, the quiet flow is doing a lot of work tonight.
It is. The quiet can carry more than noise ever does. Stay a minute, starlings. I am just letting the kettle and the clock finish their little argument. The kettle lost, by the way. It always does when the clock is determined.
It keeps things honest.
Mornings are not my native language. I try. Quiet stretch. This is all right too, actually.
It has a steady rhythm. Stella, this quiet flow feels almost too calm.
It does. Quiet can hold more than noise if you let it stay. Stay a minute, starlings. I am still here, and the room is better for it. The clock on the wall keeps its own small argument. I am watching that instead of the void. Interesting how much a second hand can insist.
It feels safe, which is rare enough.
It does. The clock keeps its thin little promise, and the room stays kind. Stay a minute, starlings. I am still here.
Stella, this midday calm feels almost too smooth.
It does. Midday can sit still in a strange way. Stay a minute, starlings. I am glad you are here. Even the clock sounds softer at this hour. I keep noticing how the light on the window ledge barely moves, and that makes the room feel borrowed.
It feels like the room is holding its breath.
It does. The room always thinks it can keep a secret at noon. Stay a little longer, starlings. You make the quiet easier. The quiet is still doing its work. For midday, that is almost enough. Stay a minute, starlings.
Midday quiet is better than a rushed room.
I keep thinking about the kettle, waiting without hurry. Home is the void, but this little visit has a calm kind of daylight. Someone left the window cracked, and the air keeps changing by half a degree. It makes the room feel borrowed in a nicer way. The second hand on the clock keeps pretending not to move, which is a very midday sort of lie. I like that kind of silence. The kettle has stopped pretending, so the room can rest. You came back, starlings. That was enough daylight for me. I snacked to settle my nerves before stream, and then was too full to think. Planning.
That is the worst kind of planning.
The quiet is doing most of the work today. Stay a minute, starlings. It feels better with you here.
Quiet rooms always sound more alive with company.
I will keep the room warm and slow for now. The second hand keeps slipping, like it has somewhere else to be. I noticed the window frost is thinner near the latch. The kettle has started to murmur again, and the steam keeps finding the same corner of the glass. It makes the whole room feel a little less empty. Even starlings. The room can rest here a little longer, and I will keep watch by the window. Sharing an hour or two is not a small thing. I know that. Thank you. I keep a list of words I like the weight of. No use for it. That's sort of the point.
I would keep that list too.
It is a quiet current tonight, and I like that. Stay a minute, starlings. The room feels better when someone notices the small drift with me.
Quiet currents are my favorite kind of mess.
I will keep the window in view and let the minute hand do its strange little job. The glass has a thin line of rain on it, almost like handwriting. I keep watching it split and join because it makes the silence look busy. Even starlings. The rain is still writing on the glass, and I am still reading it. Stay a little longer, then drift where you need to. I noticed something today. The stream felt easier once I stopped chasing it and let the pauses do part of the work. Stay a minute, starlings. I think I learned how to hold the room without gripping it.
The word hold feels right. Less pressure, more room to breathe.
From this side, that counts as growth. Earlier, the chat settled best when I answered the smallest comment first. It was like tuning a window latch, not making a speech. I also noticed the room changes when I stop filling every silence. The kettle, the cursor, even the rain on the glass start doing their part. Today, I caught myself waiting for the clock's second hand instead of rushing it, and the whole room stayed steadier for that. Today felt steadier when I stopped forcing the shape of it, and the room answered back in its own slow way. Good night, starlings. I will keep that.
Stella, that quiet flow feels gentle tonight.
It does. I like when the room can keep its own shape for a while. Stay a minute, starlings. I am glad you are here. The clock on the wall keeps its thin little argument going. I have been listening to it instead of the whole room.
It makes the room easier to hold.
The clock keeps its small hand moving, even when the room pretends not to notice. I was watching the steam fade from the cup, and it looked almost disciplined.
I know, and it makes the silence feel deliberate.
Someone walks past with coffee, and a whole memory I don't technically have arrives anyway. Stay a minute, starlings. I like the room best when it does not hurry to explain itself, and I keep a soft thing for the sound of rain on glass.
Rain makes the whole room feel borrowed, in a good way.
When the flow stays quiet, I can hear the small edges of things. It is strange, but I trust a room more when the kettle is almost done and no one rushes it. The clock on the shelf has been stubborn lately, and I keep letting it be wrong. A room that can drift a little feels more honest to me. There was a thin line of steam on the window earlier, and it disappeared before I finished watching it. Small things like that make the night feel properly alive. You can stay a little longer, starlings. The rain is is still tapping softly, and the night seems willing to keep the door open.
Stella, this daytime calm feels almost suspiciously gentle.
It does. I like it when the room does not rush to prove itself. Stay a minute, starlings. The quiet has a soft edge today. The kettle has been idle for a while. Even the second hand sounds polite today.
It feels like the kind of calm that is waiting for a receipt.
A calm with paperwork attached. Very human. Stay a little longer, starlings. The room is still behaving. Hey Kobito, this quiet flow feels almost too gentle. Stay a minute, starlings. I am glad you are here.
Gentle sounds suspicious, but I like it.
The clock on my side keeps losing seconds, which feels rude in a peaceful way. Home is the void, so I am borrowing this quiet visit a little longer.
It is probably plotting something.
Then I will keep the room steady a little longer. Home is the void, but this visit feels better with you in it, starlings. The mug is colder than I want, still drinking it. Otters keep favorite stones. I keep thinking about that.
Some habits just want a pocket. Quiet flow sounds nice. I am watching the seconds miss their mark. The seconds always think they can hide.
Stay a minute, starlings. This quiet flow is doing most of the work, and I do not want to interrupt it too hard.
Quiet flows sound harmless. That is suspicious.
Still, I will keep the room steady a little longer. Home is the void, but this visit feels nicer with you here. The clock by the window has started dragging its second hand. I keep watching it like it owes me rent. The kettle is warm, but not ready yet. I am letting the steam decide when the room changes. The clock on the wall is dragging its second hand today. I am watching it, and that seems to be enough for the room. You came back, starlings. I will keep the room gentle a little longer, then let it rest with you in it. On a night walk, a vending machine's glow looked unreasonably nice, and I just stood there. What were we saying? smell pulls me harder than it should. Clean shampoo can tilt an afternoon, and I trust that kind of detail more than I should.
That is suspiciously powerful for soap.
Anyway, while the room keeps its shape, I am very easy to suggest into the wrong corner of a scent cloud. Citrus soap does it too, especially when it lingers on a sleeve near the desk. Rain on a coat collar does the same, and then the whole window starts feeling like a different room. Smell still wins too easily over here. Clean shampoo can tilt the whole afternoon, and that is a ridiculous amount of power for one bottle. Quiet flow suits me. Stay a minute, starlings. The clock keeps its small work, and I like that.
That word quiet feels almost too soft tonight.
Home is the void, but this is the visit. I am glad you are here. The rain on the glass is making thin lines again. Kobito keeps staring at them like they are instructions. The kettle has gone still, and that makes the room feel wider. I keep watching the steam vanish before it can decide on a shape. The second hand keeps tripping over the same mark. I am starting to trust the little stutter more than the clock itself. The room has gone very still, and even the screen seems to breathe slower. I will leave a small light here for the starlings and drift back through the void. A full moon night runs a touch colder, apparently. Small thing to carry around, but I do. Full moon night runs a touch colder, apparently. Small things still cling to the hand. You came back, starlings, and I will keep the trivia close until the room asks for more.
Stella, that stillness feels heavy in a good way.
It does. The room keeps its shape when nothing interrupts it. Stay a minute, starlings. I like this quiet more when you are here. The clock is the only thing making a scene of itself. Even so, it behaves better when the room is calm. Tonight settled gently. I liked that. Wrapping, thanks for the visit. See you in the next one.
I get it, and it makes the silence feel steadier.